Everyone can hear me all right, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. How you guys all doing today, first of all? Yeah? No, I said, how you guys doing? Good! Okay, that's more like it. First of all, a little introduction. My name is Zuby. I know that some of you know me, some of you do not. So let me give you a formal introduction. I am a professional hip-hop artist. I'm an independent rapper. I've been rapping for 12 years. I've been doing it full-time for 6 years. So far I've released 7 albums and EPs so far in my music career, and I have my 8th release coming out next month, which is called Perseverance. So that's just, thank you very much, thank you. So that's just a little intro to who I am. I'll give you guys a little bit of a background story. So I didn't really want to plan this talk too much. I was there earlier this week thinking, should I go and write a little speech or something like that, or should I just turn up and see what the vibe is and talk to the people? And I figured that when it comes to normal everyday conversations, before I leave the house, I don't sit there planning what I'm going to talk about that day, do I? So I figured I'm just going to come here today, look you all in the eye one by one, and talk to you all. I don't want it to be like I'm just talking at you or giving some huge speech or a lecture or anything like that, but I wanted to share my background, share my experiences, just some of my worldview, some of the things I've been through, and hopefully give you guys some words that can inspire you and motivate you in whatever it is you want to be doing now and also in the future. So first of all, a little bit of a background story about me, because I think it helps to set the tone just so you know a little bit about where I'm from, which is a question I get asked probably I'd estimate about 5,000 times a year. You can hear my accent. I probably sound a little bit different to most people you know here in the UK. So I was actually born in England, Luton to be precise. But when I was 1 year old, my parents actually moved to the Middle East. They moved out to Saudi Arabia. So I actually lived in Saudi Arabia for about 19 years in total. I lived in Saudi Arabia. I lived there for 19 years. And when I was there, I went to an American school / international school. So you can hear my accent. It sounds a little bit different. When people hear me rap, they always notice, wait, is he American? Is he British? People are never quite sure. So that's what it is. So I'm British, but I didn't actually grow up in England. So my accent sounds a little bit different. In terms of my background, my family is originally from Nigeria. We got any Nigerians in here? Yeah. Oh, wow, look at that. About half the room. Yeah, so my family is originally from Nigeria, so I kind of feel like when people ask me where I'm from, it's always a little bit of a complicated answer because I'm kind of from 3 places. So by blood, in terms of my origin, Nigeria, in terms of where I was born, and my passport, British, but I've also got a Nigerian passport. But in terms of where I grew up in Saudi Arabia. And in terms of how I sound and who I grew up with lots of Americans and Canadians, so I kind of sound a little bit like an American. Let's take a question, go for it. We'll do questions at the end, but if you've got a question right now, let's do it.
That means you left Saudi Arabia when you were 20 years old.
That's correct. Go for it. Unfortunately not, because I went to an American school there. This is something that they did there, which is not good. So I went to an international school, and they actually only taught Arabic to the Arabic students, which is a big shame, because it meant that, I could have easily learned the language had they just taught it at the same time, but it wasn't part of the school curriculum. And when you're a little kid, the last thing on most young people's minds is learning another language that they don't have to. But that was actually something I was going to come to later, which is that it's something that I do recommend. And it's something I've amended for now, so I can now speak pretty good French and Spanish, and that's something I taught myself. Bonjour, comment ça va? So, where was I? So, there's a bit of the story that I missed out, which is that when I was 11 years old, I actually left Saudi Arabia to go to boarding school. So I actually went to school in the UK from the age of 11. So between the ages of 11 and 21, I was kind of back and forth between the 2 countries. I was in boarding school for 7 years. I went to a school first in Surrey and then another one in Bristol. So between the ages of 11 and 17, I was flying back and forth between the 2 countries, coming to the UK to go to school, and then every holiday, like the summer right now, I'd fly back to Saudi and spend that time with my family. So I've had a little bit of a weird upbringing in some ways, but you know, I think it's been important, it's been good, it's helped to shape my perspective to see how different cultures, different societies, different places work, and just give me, I think, a good overview of, you know, how different things can work there. So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit now about my career. So I finished school, did my GCSEs and A-levels and all that good stuff. Fortunately did very well in them, and then I went to a university that you might know of called Oxford University. So I went there and I studied computer science. That was a 3-year course. And when I was in my very first year of Oxford, I started rapping. I started rapping just as a hobby. I just started doing it for fun. I'd been listening to hip hop music since I was, you know, probably about the age of, certainly about the age of some of you guys here, and it wasn't something I'd ever thought of doing. I just started writing some lyrics in my dorm room at university, and one of my friends in uni had like a little recording studio in his room, just a very basic setup. So I used to just go in there, rap in front of the microphone and record stuff. And then I started letting people hear it, and people really liked it. I got a lot of positive feedback. I wasn't sure if it was just people like, you know, your friends want to say nice things to you. So I wasn't sure if it was just friends saying, oh yeah, you're good, but really, you know, it was rubbish. But I kept doing it, and I got pretty good at it. When I was in my second year of university, when I was 19, I actually released my first album. So it was called Commercial Underground. I put it together all myself, completely independent. From the very beginning of my career, I kind of said, okay, I'm not going to wait for anyone to tell me that I'm allowed to do this. This is just something I'm going to do. I'm going to take the power into my own hands, and I'm just going to create this. I just, you know, I went on Google. I was there. Okay, how do you, literally searching, how do you make an album? How do you print CDs? All this kind of stuff. And I went through the whole process, got the CDs all packaged up and everything. And I remember my very first run of CDs, I got 50 CDs made. So just a stack of 50 CDs. And I just went around the uni, talking to people, selling them to friends, family, kind of people I already knew. And those 50 CDs disappeared in 2 weeks. I sold all 50 in 2 weeks. And that was when the light bulb kind of went off, like, oh, okay, people like this. This is something that maybe I can do a little bit more seriously. You know, there's nothing wrong with doing music or anything as a hobby. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing something as a hobby. But that was the moment when I realized, okay, this is something that has potential. If people are willing to pay for it, essentially, then that's a good sign to me that people are valuing what I'm creating. So I started doing some live performances here and there, and then I actually wrote my second album while I was still in university. And no, that's all right. Go to the bathroom, man. Go to the bathroom. If anyone needs to go to the bathroom, you don't need my permission. Yeah? So yeah, I wrote my second album, which was called The Unknown Celebrity. I wrote that while I was still in university, and then before I graduated, I was given a job offer to work in a big, well-known corporate firm in London, and it was like a good starting salary and all that, a nice, comfortable job, you know, kind of thing most people aim for coming out of university. So I kind of hedged my bets. I said, okay, I'm going to take this job offer, but give me 1 year to put out this new album and see what I can do with it. So I graduated, wow, 10 years ago now. It doesn't seem like it. But yeah, so I graduated, I got my degree, you know, I ticked all those boxes, made my parents happy and all that. And then I said, okay, I've got this job lined up, but let me take a year out and just do my music full time and see what I can do with it. So I put out the second release. I traveled around all over the country, city to city. If any of you want to know what any city in the UK is like, I'm a good person to ask, because I've literally been to all of them like multiple times, from the south to the north to the east to the west, everywhere. So I just spent a whole year just traveling around the country, going to high streets, talking to people, selling my CDs, passing out flyers, just basically spreading the word about my music. And that was good, you know, the CDs were selling and everything. But then came towards the end of that year, and yeah, like I said, I'd taken this job offer. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me go do a normal job, and I'll keep doing my music stuff on the side. So I moved to London. I started working as a management consultant. It was cool, it was fine, it was all right. I learned a lot from the experience, and I did that actually for 3 years. So from 2008 to 2011, I was kind of juggling 2 careers at once, basically. So I was still rapping, I was still making music, but my main career, the thing that was making me money and everything, was being a consultant. And it reached a stage where both careers were progressing to a certain level where they started to kind of conflict with each other. So it was like my music career was being held back by my full-time consulting job because I wasn't able to travel so much and be in different places and do live shows and stuff like that. But then vice versa as well. So my music career was also holding back the corporate job because I wasn't able to fully commit to it. So in 2011, I decided to make a big decision. I took the plunge. I decided, you know what? In my heart of hearts, I know what I want to be doing. I want to be a full-time musician. I want to be self-employed. I want to inspire people through my talent. I want to make music. I want to travel around the country and the world, and I want to do this. So I made the decision, which a lot of people thought was crazy, which was to leave a very nice, comfortable, well-paying job and dive into the murky depths of the music industry, which is, at the best of times, is a very challenging and competitive thing to do, especially doing it independently, like I said. So to this day, I'm not with any big record label. I've done everything myself. I've built it all up myself independently. So I've now been doing that. So yeah, leaving that job, that was literally approaching 7 years ago now. So ever since then, I've been working on my music full time. I've released a whole bunch more releases since then, shot a whole ton of music videos, and now, you know, I've now sold over 25,000 albums completely independently without a record label. One of my releases hit number 12 on the iTunes hip hop chart, which is an independent release without a label, is a pretty big achievement. And yeah, I'm open for some artists you guys may know, like Akala, Wiley, Chip, Bashi, Tech9, The Far Side, many different artists. Some you may know, some you may not. Met a whole bunch of people, performed in 8 different countries, and this is still just the beginning of the story. So that's my background, and hopefully from the story itself, you can maybe glean a couple of tidbits from it. But what I want to do is, I think I'm just going to tell you guys some of the things that I've learned throughout that journey. How old is everyone in here? I can kind of guess by looking at you, but who's the youngest person? Who's the youngest person? Oh, okay. A young lady back there. Okay. And how old is she? 2. Wow. Okay. But okay. How old are you, man? 13. You? 10. You? 8. 12. Okay. So I guess the range is, let's hedge, maybe I guess some between 7, 15, that kind of range. Mostly falling in there. I know we've got a few young but older people at the back as well. I don't mind at my age. I'm 31. I'm going to be 32 next week, in fact. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. But I kind of look exactly the same as I did 10 years ago, so I'm one of those people who nobody can guess my age, which is cool. I think music keeps you young, as does going to the gym and eating well. What's that? Yeah, so in terms of some stuff I've learned, so what I'm going to do is, by the way, guys, if anyone has any questions, I'm going to like open up the floor. I'm going to open up the floor completely at the end. If you've got something super duper pressing, you can put your hand up and I'll try to answer it now, but I will come back to questions at the end. But in terms of stuff that I've learned throughout my journey so far, and like I said, I feel like my journey is still beginning, but I'm at an interesting stage now because I do very, very, very clearly and explicitly remember being the age of lots of you guys right now, you know? And it does go fast. I remember when I was 13 and I thought that 20 was old, right? And then I got to 20 and I was like, oh no, 30 years old. And I got to, and it, you know, life does go, time does go quickly. And being young is awesome. Being young is awesome. Being a bit older is also awesome because you've got more experience and you've learned more stuff, but there's just something, you know, there's something about youth, about being a teenager, which is just enjoy it. Long message short, just enjoy it. Enjoy it, okay? Don't be too much in a rush to, I want to be older, I want to be older, I want to be older, because what will happen is everyone until they're about 18 always wants to be, 18, 21, everyone always wants to be older, and then once people are kind of like 25 plus, they start wanting to be younger again. It's just one of those weird things in life. But yeah, you can't go back. But yeah, so I've learned a lot of interesting lessons along this journey. So I'll share a couple of them. there's two things that prevent most people. This goes for everyone. This is young people, this is old people, everyone. There are two things that prevent a lot of people, the vast majority of people, every single one of us, from pursuing and doing the things we want to do. And those two things are, if I could boil it down, I would say number one is fear. Number one is fear. Everyone has things that they're afraid of, whether that is like a heart-pounding fear of, maybe standing here and talking in front of an audience, or doing something that you're not used to be doing, or something that's out of your comfort zone. So fear is number one, and it's good to have a little bit of fear because it stops you from, it's your body's way to stop you from doing anything that's too crazy. But fear can really, really limit you. And the second thing that I've learned literally over the past 15 years, the second thing is limiting belief, which is also linked to fear. So all of us have things that we believe about ourselves, we believe about the world, we believe about society, and some of those things might be true, but a lot of those things can also just be opinions, right? So who in here knows what they want to do? Who knows what they want to do when they get older? Or who's got an idea? Okay, what do you want to do, bro?
Football.
Want to be a football player? Yeah. Okay. And yourself? Want to be a footballer? Okay. And you, bro? Left back football. Okay. Everyone wants to play football. All right. And
Electronic engineer.
electronic engineer. Okay. Any others? Professional drummer. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. When I was your age, I wanted to be a cartoonist. I wanted to draw cartoons. When I was young, before I started making music, I used to just draw. I used to draw like crazy. Yeah, still drawing? Drawing is awesome. I used to draw like crazy. That was my first creative thing I was really into. Funnily enough, I wasn't into music that much when I was really young. It wasn't until I was like 11, 12 I started even enjoying listening to it. So, things do change, but that's fine. But when it comes to what you want to do, you're always going to have self-doubt, and you're also going to have other people who doubt you, okay? So if you want to be an electronic engineer, you'll have something in your brain saying, oh, maybe you're not this enough, maybe you're not smart enough, maybe you're not hardworking enough, maybe you're not this, maybe you're not that, maybe, oh, nobody who looks like me does this thing, or whatever, And these are all limiting beliefs. Another limiting belief is also, oh, what about, people are often worried about what other people are going to say about them. People are worried about being ridiculed or judged by others. So if you say I want to be a professional footballer, right? You're going to have people saying, oh no, you can't do that, right? People are going to say that because it is a competitive career path, but assuming you're really, really, really good at football, you do need to be very good. I couldn't be a professional footballer because I'm not good enough at football. It is. I don't want to. How would I put this? I don't want to say that you can. We've all got different talents and abilities. So when I say that you can do everything, and you can be whatever you want to be, I'll put a little caveat, which is that you do have to be good at it. So if I wanted to be like a professional water polo player or a professional skier, yeah, of course. I'm terrible at skiing. I'm terrible at ice skating, right? So I'm never going to be a professional ice skater. But you know what? I am good at rapping, and there's other things that I'm good at. So it's like you've got to identify that talent, and then you can go for it. But yeah, so those two things are two things I really want to. I think actually at the age you guys are at, what's awesome is that you haven't yet. What will happen in the next decade is you'll find that a lot of people become. How would I put this? As people get older, people tend to close their minds. What's awesome about talking to younger people is that their minds are more open. So you actually have less limiting beliefs than the average person my age. Okay, the average person my age who's already got their job, they've already got their career, they've already got things going. They tend to have a very small box that they think they can think in, and act in, and they're worried about, oh, if I go do that, this person will put me down, or this is going to fail, this is going to fail. I find younger people tend to be a bit more open to just be like, yeah, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. So please, 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 please maintain that. Don't lose that. Don't lose that, because you'll find as you get older, a lot of people do lose that fire, do lose that drive. So definitely maintain that. Do you know what? I'm not going to go on and on too much, because what we'll do is, I think they wanted to have a short break so people can get some drinks or food or whatever. We'll come back and then we'll do a Q&A. So if you guys have got any specific questions you want to ask me, anything I can help you with, advise you on, anything you're curious to know about me, whatever it may be, I want this to be a conversation. So I don't want to just talk at you. We'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back and we'll open up the floor, yeah? So let's do this.